Hey guys, it is Michelle and I am here with an update to my Book Riot 2015 Read Harder Challenge. I will leave links to the challenge information below if you're interested in joining up. There's a Goodreads group and also Book Riot's website has information on it. There are 24 categories in the challenge and the idea is to read one book from each category before the end of the year. I have decided to do an update every time I have completed 6 books, and that is what has happened. I have finished 6 of the books that were on my list, and so I decided to pop an update video out there. The first category that I completed was retelling of a classic story or fairy tale, and for this I chose Scarlet by Marissa Meyer. Of course, this is book 2 in the Lunar Chronicles series. The first book was called Cinder. And these are fairy tale retellings involving cyborgs. They are YA, they are fast-paced, they are action-packed, there's a lot of political intrigue, and they are just fun to read. Scarlet was no exception. I was very excited to find out that Cinder's storyline continued on in this book because I didn't think that it would. I did like the new storyline. I did find some problems with Scarlet. I thought that a lot of the action scenes were lacking detail, so I couldn't really visualize what was going on. And I thought a lot of the plot twists were very repetitive. That being aside, the banter was great, the story development was great. It's still very enjoyable, and I ended up giving it 4 stars out of 5. Next up, I read a poetry collection, and I am really clueless about poetry, so I just kind of randomly selected poetry using Goodreads, and I ended up reading From Where I Stand by Robert Zimmerman. Now, this was kind of a way for him to work through some things he has been through, and although I haven't been through those things, I was really impressed by his ability to just kind of lay it all out there and bare his soul and make that kind of no longer a private thing and a way to deal with that. And I could really get what he was trying to say in the poetry. It wasn't like mysterious and confusing like a lot of poetry I've read in the past where I'm trying to guess what they mean. I could really see to the heart of what he was trying to say, and I ended up giving it 3 stars out of 5. Interestingly, in Barnes & Noble, I have picked up another poetry collection, so maybe this is kind of broadening my horizons a little bit. The third challenge that I met was a graphic novel, and I specifically chose The Arrival by Sean Tan because it contains 0 words. And my issue with graphic novels is I tend to focus on the words and not so much the art, and in this case, I didn't have that option. The artwork in here is phenomenal. I can't believe how expressive some of it is. I will try to show you a little preview. I'm not sure how much you can see or how well, but maybe I'll cut in with some pictures right there if I need to. But I did have an issue with the story that was included. It is a story of immigration, and it's mainly telling one family's story, but it's like the author along the way tried to kind of include some vignettes of other immigration experiences. And I had trouble like telling what the main focus was. Was it the overall story or was it the little vignettes? And I didn't feel like either one was done particularly well, so I did end up giving this only 3 stars out of 5 despite the amazing artwork. The fourth book that I read to complete a challenge was Say What You Will by Cami McGovern, and this was my YA novel. I had plenty to choose from. I know I'll be reading a lot of YA novels this year. But this is one from 2014 that I really wanted to read, and it follows Amy. She has cerebral palsy, and she has always had an adult aide at school because she has trouble getting to classes and carrying her books and getting her things ready and that kind of stuff. So because of that, she's been kind of socially distant from her peers, and she knows she wants to go to college and she's going to have to learn how to interact with peers. So she and her family decide that for her senior year, she will not have adult aides. She will have peer aides just to help her get from class to class. And one of the people that is chosen is Matthew. She's known Matthew since elementary school, and he's kind of a misfit too. And so they kind of have a relationship from there. Things happen in this book I did not expect, and that was very refreshing, and I just enjoyed it overall and gave it 4 stars out of 5. Next was my favorite book that I have read for the challenge so far, and this was my short story collection. It is called 40 Tales of the Afterlives, and there are 40 different stories. They range from like 2 pages long to 10 pages long, so it was really easy to just read one story a day. So I ended up finishing it in mid-February, and I adored it. I realized that my thoughts about the afterlife were all tied to the major religions and hadn't really explored more than that. And so this was very refreshing and very creative for me, and I just dug it. Really enjoyed thinking about different reasons for the afterlife. Some of them were absolutely hilarious. Some of them had me rolling my eyes. It's strange. I see some people reviewing short story collections and they're always like, yeah, these few were really good and the rest of these kind of, were disappointing. I wasn't disappointed in any of the 40. So that was amazing. There were some that were better than others, but it was like they were either amazing or really, really good. So I highly recommend this one. Like I said, a lot of hilarity. If you check out my Goodreads review, I listed, I think, like my 7 favorite stories out of the 40. So anyway, there's that. Did give this 5 stars out of 5 if you can't tell. And lastly, I read the book for the category book published by an indie press, and this was Strings and Bones by Kim Talon. And this one just kind of fell flat for me. It follows Kizzy starting when she's a teenager, and she is visited by the presence of people who have passed away that want her to deliver messages to people who are still alive. And it was a great premise. I love that premise. I just don't think it was executed all that well. There were times the story bogged down with minor details, like the scent of shampoo that she was using that morning when that had nothing to do with the story. It was very fairy tale-like at times. A lot of people would think she's crazy for saying that, she has these interactions with dead people and delivers these messages. But of course she finds this perfect man who's rich and has plenty of free time and totally believes her, and just, it was very insta-lovey, and I don't know, he was just a little too perfect, and in the end, there was really no closure. It was just kind of disappointing overall, so probably more of a 2.5 if Goodreads let us round down, but they don't, so I ended up giving it 3 stars out of 5. So overall, of the 6 books I have read, I gave them an average of 3 2/3 stars. And that is pretty far below my normal Goodreads average. So far, not doing so great with the challenge, but maybe it's just reinforcing that I really pretty much already know what I like to read, and am pretty good at finding those books and picking them out. So I don't know. That's what I'm going to think of it as for now, but we have 75% of this challenge to go. So I will see you with another update sometime in the future. Thank you so much for watching, and happy reading.